100 grand Ross where the rock never stops. The Detroit Pistons. I think it's going to be a great year for them. But there's a lot of teams that I think they're going to need to keep a lookout for. That they're going to make sure that they don't sleep on. Make sure that they don't overlook. Because if they do, these teams could probably easily overtake them in the Eastern Conference standings and potentially create an upset of a year where it's another first round exit. I think most of us assume they're going to get into the second round at least. I'm hoping so. I believe so. I think they have the talent to. Though there are some concerns from this preseason. Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson not looking the sharpest. Jalen Duren still hasn't yet made his first appearance. This could be a highly Cade, heliocentric offense once again. But I do think they have the veterans to help buoy the ship while those young guys figure it out and get themselves going. But there's another team that I want to do. Talked about the Pacers, talked about the Bucks within our own division, and of course the Cavs. And there's some other teams outside of our division. And one that I want to pay attention to is the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, I think they're a team that many people are, for good measure, sleeping on. Al Horford's gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Drew Holiday is gone. Jason Tatum is going to be out probably the whole season. Should be. Even if he can come back, it's like why even rush? Why even push? And I think it's a great opportunity for them to see just what they have in Jaylen Brown. Can he lead them into a deep playoff run? If he leads them to a Eastern Conference semifinals run, he kind of validates himself, like in an incredible way, that he can be a franchise player along with Jason Tatum. They just happen to have two franchise players. And I think that he's going to have that chip on his shoulder, right? He won Eastern Conference playoff player of the year when they won the championship. Then he won the NBA Finals, most valuable player. And then, of course, he's an all-star. And then he gets left off the Olympic team. Like the same year he won a championship. And it's like, wait, bro, for real? For real? And they put Derek White on the team, which was like disgraceful, right? So I think he has a lot to prove. But something that kind of popped into my mind that I wanted to do this video about, do this live about, can these Boston Celtics be the Miami Heat of old? The Miami Heat of the Jimmy Butler era. The team that kind of just slow stalks the league. Almost like The Undertaker. They just kind of keep steadily coming after you. Like Jason, like a good horror movie, right? Just keeps getting up. Michael Myers. Just keeps following you. And then in the playoffs, when it matters the most, all of a sudden, things slow down enough for them to catch you. Yeah, you've been running all season long. Maybe you're the number 1 seed, number 5 seed, number 3, 2, whatever. And they just keep winning steadily enough to get into the playoffs. Maybe through the play-in, maybe outside of the play-in. And they get to that first round, and it's just ugly. And all of a sudden, Jimmy Butler elevates his game. And he becomes a superstar. And the next thing you know, they're in the second round. And then all of a sudden, the matchups are looking like, oh, okay, can they do something? And all of a sudden, it's the third round. They're in the conference finals. And you're like, whoa, they do this every year throughout that Jimmy Butler era. Can these Boston Celtics do something similar? There's some specific reasons that I think that they can. They have some essential components. They have, one, the system and the buy-in. Coach Joe Mazzulla has this offense set. They're going to shoot a whole lot of threes. They're going to get out in transition. They're going to move the ball, play unselfishly, and they're going to spread you out. For the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra had similar buy-in. Heat culture. And that Heat culture has always been able to get guys to maximize their potential. But if I dare say, this supporting cast probably has more talent than any of those Miami Heat teams. Yes, you had Jimmy Butler, who I would back then have ranked above Jaylen Brown, but not by much. Not by much. Now I would say Jaylen Brown's probably better, just outright. Finals MVP, Eastern Conference MVP, playoff MVP. I think he's eclipsed him. And he's younger and just in his prime athletically. But you also have to think about, does he have the ability to elevate his game in the playoffs when it matters the most? And he's shown he can. And then when you look at the supporting cast, I would say that these Boston Celtics are more athletic. They're bigger, taller, longer along the wings. Josh Minot, Jordan Walsh, right? What's his name? Sam Hauser, right? These guys, bigger, longer, uh, more athletic. So can they be a bigger, more athletic version? Probably. But then I looked at the other second guy, and I feel like a lot of people were kind of whispering that Derek White is supposed to be the second guy. He's not. He's not. Derek White is by no means going to be the second guy on these Boston Celtics. It's going to be Anthony Simons. Clearly, Anthony Simons. If you watched the preseason game last night, you saw Anthony Simons take a while to get himself going, and then in the third quarter, boom. Okay, he's found it. He's good. That guy next to Jaylen Brown is dangerous. That guy next to Jaylen Brown, sandwiched between Derek White and Jaylen Brown, is dangerous. And when you put Anthony Simons, young athletic shooter who can create his own shot, think of more athletic, far more athletic Tyler Hero. You begin to see like, oh, okay, a fringe all star level player. And I do think Anthony Simons is all star level. I do think he's right there. And it would be great vindication for him to make the all star team, especially with Tyler Hero out, Jason Tatum out. There's a lot of spots available. I think he could be one hell of a player in that lineup. In an offensive system that wants to get up a lot of threes, he's one of the best volume 3-point shooters in the league, next to Stephen Curry. I think what we're going to see is a team that has great continuity, great defensive pedigree, buy-in. They're going to have a clear pecking order. They have their superstar, or close to it, in Jaylen Brown. They have their high-level all-star supporting cast in Anthony Simons. They have their floor general leader in Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. And they just have a great accompaniment. That's the word I was looking for. A great accompaniment of just hustle guys. Guys that are going to do all the dirty work. Guys that are going to get down on the floor, dive for loose balls, get the rebounds, get out in transition. What's up, Ray Floyd? It's good to see you in the chat. The only thing we're missing is our Rashid. They don't make them like that no more. Yeah, that's true. I don't know if you saw my last video talking about Bobby Clement. Really excited about Bobby Clement. Really excited. I think he could be. I want to see him actually in the starting lineup for the rest of the preseason. For the next couple of games, I want to see if he can translate some of that movement, shooting, etc. But I digress. The Boston Celtics. They look like a legitimate team that's going to be in the playoffs. Healthy, right? Because injuries happen, knock on wood. If they're healthy, they have a healthy year. If they get 75 plus games, 70, 75 games out of their starting five, out of their maybe top seven, they're going to be in the playoffs. They are going to be in the playoffs. Now, I know there's some holes in the middle. You got guys like Xavier Tillman, Nehemias Queta. These guys are going to be rotating through that center position. And then they got other guys at forward. They got Sam Hauser. I actually like Chris Boucher. I think they're going to have some decent options. But really, they're just going to need guys, and Luka Garza, of course. But they're just going to need guys to just play hard, rebound, set good screens, roll to the basket, finish at the rim. Do basic stuff, and then let their shooters shoot, let their lead players lead, and everyone follow suit. That's what the Miami Heat culture era teams did. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, maybe a little Tyler Hero, and then a bunch of shooters. Duncan Robinson, right? Tyler Hero, as I mentioned. Guys just knock down shots, and then everyone play balls to the wall, hard nosed defense every moment they're out there. If they get that type of production, if they get that type of effort, they're going to be right there in the number 5 seed, easily. Number 5 seed. And if Anthony Simons is averaging over 27 points a game and they're on track for the number 4 seed, he's going to probably make the All Star team, which in a contract year, he has every incentive to do. Every incentive. Every. In fact, Pistons fans, just saw a video that somebody did, and they were saying if Ivy doesn't pan out, Anthony Simons could be an option. That's a reality. That's a reality. Now, I think he's going to be just fine. I think Jaden Ivey is going to start a little slow this year, but by November, he'll be picking it up. December, we'll be like, that's the Jaden Ivey we saw at the end of last year before the injury. And then we're going to see January, February, he's going to take off. March, April, and he'll look great. That's my projection for him. But Anthony Simons is a bucket. Is a shooter. Is somebody you can be relied upon to score consistently at a high level. Now, can he do it in the playoffs? That has not been seen yet. But I think we will see it. I think we will see it. I think it's something that is going to happen this year. Boston's going to get in the playoffs, and Anthony Simon's going to have an opportunity to have his moments to show that his game translates. And if it does, that's a $35 million player, if not 40. That's just the reality. And considering that the guard position, whether it's point guard or shooting guard, it's probably one of the more lean positions in the NBA right now, meaning that there's not a lot of superstars. Okay, you got Cade, you got Ant-Man. After that, I'm trying to think. Oh, you got Donovan Mitchell. That's 3. Yeah, I can't really think of too many other elite guards. So if you got a guy who's 26 years old, averaging over 27 points per game on a playoff team, shows up in the playoffs, really good athleticism, if not great athleticism, can create his own shot. That's a Zach Levine salary level player. I don't think he'll get the same money because I think teams will be like, that's a scary contract, Zach Levine's. Um, but he's that level of player. Zach Levine, Tyler Hero, Anthony Simons, right there. All this to say is, I think it's gonna be a hell of a year for the Boston Celtics, and I think that if the Detroit Pistons are serious about making a run in the playoffs, they can't take them lightly. They can't overlook them. They can't forget about them because them boys in green are going to be coming. They're going to be bought in. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're going to have everything to prove, and they're going to want to scare the hell out of a lot of playoff teams. So, as always, I want to know what you all think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Oh, and remember, love yourself. Love yourself. Remember, you can't receive more love for you than you have for yourself. So learn to love yourself. That's the greatest gift you could pass on to your children and your loved ones. I'm holla at y'all next.